High Counselor Xyrax of the Galactic Confederation stood motionless before the observation window of Research Station Epsilon, his iridescent scales reflecting the dim light of distant stars. The discovery his teams had made in the Outer Rim troubled him deeply. After 3 millennia of believing humans were nothing more than ancient legends, they had found irrefutable evidence of their existence. High Counselor called out Dr. Nexus Vorn, her crystalline form shifting colors with excitement as she approached. The analysis is complete. The artifacts we found, they're not just remnants. They're active, still functioning after all this time. Xyrax turned slowly, his emerald eyes narrowing. Show me. In the station's primary research chamber, holographic displays illuminated the darkness with data streams and analysis readings. At the center stood a pillar of black metal, its surface etched with patterns that seemed to shift and change when viewed directly. We've confirmed it's of human origin, Dr. Vorn continued, manipulating the control interface with her energy tendrils. But the technology, it's unlike anything in our historical records. The power signature alone defies our understanding of physics. Lieutenant Commander Thex, a towering Andromedian with chrome-plated exoskeletal armor, stepped forward. High Counselor, this goes beyond a simple archaeological find. The energy readings we're detecting suggest there could be more, many more. And they're not just scattered artifacts. They form a pattern. Xyrax studied the star map hovering before them, where dozens of points of light pulsed in perfect synchronization. Each represented a confirmed location of human technology, forming an intricate web across unexplored sectors of space. They've been watching us, Xyrax whispered, the revelation sending a chill through his scaled form. All this time, while we dismissed them as myths, they were out there, building, waiting. But for what? The answer came sooner than anyone expected. Deep space sensors across the Confederation began detecting anomalies, massive objects emerging from previously empty space. The void itself seemed to ripple and tear as massive ships appeared, their designs completely alien to Confederation records. Multiple contacts. Lieutenant Commander Thex's voice boomed through the emergency channels. Size and mass readings exceed anything in our database. Energy signatures. By the void, they're massive. The first transmission arrived on all frequencies simultaneously, bypassing every encryption and security measure the Confederation possessed. The message was simple, delivered in perfect galactic standard. We are the children of Earth. We have watched. We have learned. We have evolved. The time of hiding is over. In the following hours, reports flooded in from across Confederation space. More ships appearing, more artifacts activating. Each vessel dwarfed the largest Confederation cruisers, their hulls seemingly absorbing light itself. They moved with impossible grace for their size, defying known laws of physics and navigation. Dr. Vorn's analysis team worked frantically to understand the technology they were witnessing. The ships aren't just advanced, she reported, her crystalline form pulsing with intense blue light. They're integrated with technologies we've never even theorized. The humans haven't just survived, they've transcended everything we thought we knew about science. High Counselor Xyrax called an emergency session of the Confederation Council. Representatives from 1,000 species gathered, their faces marked with fear and confusion. The humans, whom they had dismissed as primitive beings lost to time, had returned with power that made the Confederation's greatest achievements look like children's toys. We need to understand what we're dealing with, Xyrax addressed the council. These humans, they're not seeking revenge. If they wanted to destroy us, they could have done so the moment they revealed themselves. No, this is something else. They're making a statement. The council chamber erupted in debate. Some called for immediate military action, while others advocated for diplomatic contact. But Xyrax knew better. The humans had spent centuries preparing for this moment. Whatever their intention, they would reveal it in their own time. As if in response to his thoughts, another transmission cut through all channels. This time, it carried images, vast cities hidden in dimensional pockets, fleets of ships that could reshape reality itself, and technologies that bordered on the miraculous. For 3,000 years, the transmission began. You built your civilization on the bones of those you thought defeated. You claimed the stars as your own, never questioning the shadows that moved just beyond your sight. We are humanity, and we have come to reclaim our place among the stars. Not as conquerors, not as victims, but as equals. The question is, are you ready to accept that truth? The message ended, leaving the council in stunned silence. The humans hadn't just survived their supposed extinction. They had used their time in the shadows to become something more. Something that defied understanding. As Zyrax stared out at the massive human vessels now visible from the Council Station's windows, he realized that everything was about to change. The age of Confederation dominance was over. A new era was beginning. One where humanity would no longer be a myth, but a force that would reshape the very fabric of galactic civilization. The Silent Watchers had finally stepped into the light, and the galaxy would never be the same. Aboard the Confederation diplomatic vessel Star's Wisdom, High Counselor Zyrax prepared for humanity's first official contact in 3 millennia. The massive human ship before them, Eternal Dawn, hung in space like a sliver of night itself, its surface rippling with patterns of light that seemed to follow no logical sequence. Final approach vector confirmed, Lieutenant Commander Thex announced from his station. The humans have provided docking protocols that, well, they're unlike anything we've seen. Their artificial gravity systems alone are generations ahead of ours. Dr. Vorn's crystalline form shimmered with nervous energy as she reviewed the incoming data. The technology they're showing us now, it's just the surface. From what I can analyze, their ship isn't just advanced, it's adaptive. Learning. Growing. The docking procedure went smoothly, almost too smoothly, as if the human vessel itself was guiding them in. When the airlock cycled open, the Confederation delegation found themselves facing their first human in 3,000 years. Fleet Marshal Dominic Frost stood tall, his midnight blue uniform bearing no obvious rank insignia or decorations. His dark skin contrasted with startlingly pale eyes that seemed to hold centuries of knowledge. Behind him stood his command staff, each bearing the same quiet confidence that spoke of power held in perfect control. High Counselor Zyrax, Frost spoke, his voice carrying both warmth and authority. Welcome aboard the Eternal Dawn. We've been looking forward to this meeting for a very long time. The human ship's interior defied conventional design. Surfaces shifted and changed as they walked, adapting to their needs moment by moment. What appeared to be solid walls would become transparent when someone needed to see through them, and gravity shifted orientation without any sensation of movement. Your ship. Dr. Vorn couldn't contain her scientific curiosity. It's biomechanical, isn't it? But more than that, it's got quantum properties I've never seen before. Frost smiled. Dr. Vorn, your reputation for insight serves you well. Yes, our ships are alive in a sense. We learned long ago that the best technology isn't built, it's grown, nurtured, taught. They entered what appeared to be a command center, though it bore little resemblance to any Confederation equivalent. Information flowed through the air itself, responding to thought and gesture. Star maps danced around them, showing the true extent of human territory, vast regions of space that had been hidden in plain sight. When we left known space, Frost explained, we didn't just hide. We evolved. We found ways to exist in dimensions parallel to normal space-time. We learned to fold reality itself, to step between the moments other species lived in. Time, space, matter, they became clay in our hands. Lieutenant Commander Thex's cybernetic systems struggled to process what they were seeing. Your entire civilization. You've been here all along? Watching us. We had to be sure. Another human officer stepped forward, Strategic Director Rama Singh, her augmented eyes swirling with complex patterns. The last time we revealed ourselves too quickly, it led to war. This time, we needed to understand the galaxy we would be rejoining. The implications hit Zyrax like a physical blow. The artifacts we found, they weren't accidents. You wanted us to find them. You were testing us. Frost nodded. Every piece of technology we left for you to discover was a test. We needed to see how you would react. Would you try to understand it, or simply try to weaponize it? Would you share the knowledge, or hoard it? The Confederation's responses helped us plan our return. Through the living walls of the ship, they could see more human vessels emerging from their dimensional pockets. Each one was unique, evolved for specific purposes, yet all shared the same impossible grace and power. But why now? Zyrax asked. Why reveal yourselves at this moment? Frost's expression grew serious. Because you're not ready for what's coming. None of us are, not alone. The galaxy is larger and more dangerous than either of our civilizations realized. We've detected something out there, beyond the rim of known space. Something that makes our old conflicts seem meaningless. The command center shifted, displaying a region of space that seemed to devour light itself. Data streams showed energy patterns that defied analysis, and movement that suggested intelligence on a scale that dwarfed comprehension. This, Frost gestured to the display, is why we've returned. Not to conquer, not to reclaim old territories, but to prepare. Humanity learned its lessons about pride and arrogance long ago. We don't seek to rule the Confederation, we seek to help you evolve. Because what's coming won't care about our past conflicts or our political boundaries. It will consume everything in its path unless we stand together. Dr. Vorn's crystalline form pulsed with realization. The dimensional technology, the living ships, you didn't develop these just for advancement. You were preparing for war. Not war, Strategic Director Singh corrected. Survival, evolution, transcendence. The choice the galaxy faces isn't between humanity and the Confederation. It's between evolution and extinction. As if to emphasize her words, the Eternal Dawn's walls rippled with new information. The human ships were taking up defensive positions throughout Confederation space, not to threaten, but to protect. They were sharing their technology, their knowledge, but not all at once. They would guide the Confederation's evolution, help them grow into something new. The question now, Frost turned to Zyrax, is whether the Confederation is ready to take its next step, to move beyond the limitations of current thought and technology, to join us in becoming something greater than the sum of our parts. Zyrax looked around the living ship, at the technology that read like magic, at the humans who had transcended their own nature, and made his decision. The galaxy was changing, ready or not. The only choice was whether to change with it, or be left behind in the cosmic dark. The warning came without fanfare, a ripple in space-time that human sensors detected long before Confederation systems could register the threat. In the command center of the Eternal Dawn, Fleet Marshal Frost and Strategic Director Singh watched as the anomaly grew, consuming light and matter alike. They're earlier than we projected. Singh's augmented eyes swirled with complex calculations. The void entities have accelerated their expansion pattern. We have weeks, not months. High Counselor Zyrax and Dr. Vorn, still aboard for diplomatic discussions, watched in horror as the visualization showed entire star systems going dark along the galaxy's outer rim. Lieutenant Commander Thex's cybernetic systems were recording everything, trying to make sense of the impossible data. This is why we didn't have time for a gentler approach, Frost explained, his calm voice belying the gravity of the situation. The Titan protocol must be initiated now, ready or not. The command center transformed around them, walls becoming transparent to reveal hundreds of human ships moving in perfect synchronization. Each vessel pulsed with energy that bent light around their hulls, their living metal surfaces rippling with anticipation. What exactly is the Titan protocol? Zyrax asked, his scales shifting color with anxiety. Before Frost could answer, new alarms blared. A massive tear in space appeared at the edge of the sector, and through it emerged something that defied description, a writhing mass of dark energy that consumed everything in its path. That, Singh pointed to the monstrosity, is what we've been preparing for. The void entities don't just destroy, they unmake reality itself. Conventional weapons are useless. Even our most advanced technology can only slow them down. The only way to fight them is to change the rules of existence itself. Frost's voice took on a commanding tone. All ships, initiate Titan protocol. Authorization Frost Alpha 0. The human fleet responded instantly. Their ships began to move in impossible ways, folding space around themselves. The living metal of their hulls transformed, growing and evolving before the observer's eyes. Ships merged with each other, forming larger and larger structures until they created something unprecedented, a massive lattice of living metal and energy that spanned the entire sector. By the void, Dr. Vorn whispered, her crystalline form pulsing with amazement. They're creating a dimensional lock. They're actually trying to rewrite the laws of physics in this sector. The void entity slammed against the human defense network, dark energy tendrils seeking weak points. But where they touched the living metal lattice, something remarkable happened. The darkness was not just stopped, it was transformed. Light emerged from the points of contact, reality itself being reinforced and restructured. This is why we needed your cooperation, Singh explained as she coordinated the fleet's movements. The Titan protocol doesn't just defend space, it reinforces it, strengthens the very fabric of reality. But it requires anchor points in normal space-time, points that must be protected by conventional forces while we complete the transformation. Lieutenant Commander Thex stepped forward, his cybernetic systems finally processing the implications. You need the Confederation fleet to protect these anchor points. Our ships might not be able to fight the void entities directly, but we can keep them from disrupting your work. Precisely, Frost nodded. This isn't about humans saving the galaxy. It's about all of us working together to evolve into something that can survive what's coming. The void entities aren't just an enemy, they're a catalyst for change. The Eternal Dawn shuddered as another void entity emerged from the tear in space. This one was larger, more focused in its attacks. It struck at the lattice with precise blows, testing for weaknesses. All ships, Phase 2, Frost commanded. The human fleet responded by initiating an even more impossible transformation. The lattice began to pulse with new energy, and suddenly the void entities found themselves trapped in a web of reinforced reality. Now, Counselor, Frost turned to Xyrax. We need your decision. The Confederation fleet must take up defensive positions around the anchor points. Every moment we delay gives the void entities another chance to adapt. Xyrax looked at the battle unfolding before them. Human ships wielding technology that bordered on miraculous, facing horrors that shouldn't exist. The choice was clear. He activated his command channel to the Confederation fleet. This is High Counselor Xyrax. All ships, deploy according to human tactical data. Protection of dimensional anchor points is now our highest priority. The age of division is over. Today, we fight as one. The response was immediate. Confederation ships moved into position. Their conventional weapons may have been useless against the void entities directly, but they could keep smaller threats away from the anchor points. The human fleet continued their impossible evolution, the Titan protocol reshaping space itself into a weapon against the darkness. Dr. Vorn's scientific instruments were recording everything, documenting the birth of a new era in physics and warfare. The void entities, they're not just being stopped. They're being changed. The Titan protocol isn't just a defense system. It's an evolutionary engine, Singh finished the thought. Every species in this galaxy will have to evolve to survive what's coming. The humans simply had a head start. Today, we share that advantage with the Confederation. Together, we'll become something new. Something that can face the darkness and turn it into light. As if in response to her words, the lattice flared with blinding energy. Where the void entities had been, new space was forming, purified, strengthened, ready for whatever would come next. The first battle was over, but the war for reality itself was just beginning. The Eternal Dawn's command center had become a nexus of frenetic activity. 1 week into the void entity invasion, both human and Confederation forces were being pushed to their limits. Multiple tears in space-time had appeared across 3 sectors, each spewing forth horrors that defied conventional physics. Anchor Point 7 is under heavy assault, Lieutenant Commander Thex reported, his cybernetic systems processing battlefield data at unprecedented speeds. Confederation cruisers are holding the line, but their shield systems are failing under the dimensional stress. Fleet Marshal Frost's pale eyes narrowed as he studied the tactical display. Redirect the Prometheus and Hyperion to reinforce that position. Director Singh, status of the Titan protocol modifications? Rama Singh's augmented eyes flickered with streams of data as she coordinated with the evolved human vessels. The lattice is adapting to the void entity's new attack patterns, but each adaptation drains more power from our dimensional course. We can't maintain this defensive posture indefinitely. Dr. Vorn's crystalline form pulsed with worried energy as she analyzed the incoming sensor data. The void entities are learning, evolving faster than we anticipated. They're not just attacking physical space anymore. They're targeting the quantum foundation of reality itself. A massive shockwave rocked the Eternal Dawn as another tier opened dangerously close to their position. Through it emerged something that made even the hardened human commanders pause. A void entity larger than any they'd encountered, its dark mass writhing with malevolent purpose. By the ancient stars, Xyrax whispered, his scales turning pale. That one's different. It's aware. The entity proved his point immediately, launching a coordinated attack that struck multiple anchor points simultaneously. The dimensional lattice created by the human fleet groaned under the assault, reality itself buckling under the strain. All ships, execute emergency protocol Omega, Frost commanded, his voice steady despite the chaos. Director Singh, initialize the quantum resonance cascade. Singh's hands danced through the holographic controls. Sir, the cascade hasn't been tested at this scale. The power requirements alone could burn out half our fleet's course. We're out of options, Frost replied. Either we take this risk, or we watch reality itself unravel. The human fleet responded instantly, their living metal hulls beginning to vibrate at frequencies that shouldn't have been possible. The dimensional lattice pulsed with new energy as quantum resonance built throughout the network. Confederation ships, fall back to secondary positions, Xyrax ordered, understanding that conventional vessels wouldn't survive what was coming. Maintain defensive fire on the smaller entities, but clear the primary engagement zone. As the Confederation fleet repositioned, the human ships began their most dramatic transformation yet. The living metal of their hulls started to fracture and reform, each vessel splitting into multiple copies of itself across different quantum states. What you're seeing, Dr. Vorn explained to the amazed Confederation observers, is quantum superposition on a macro scale. They're existing in multiple realities simultaneously, using the uncertainty principle as a weapon. The massive void entity seemed to sense the threat, concentrating its attacks on the transforming human fleet. But its dark energy tendrils passed harmlessly through the quantum duplicates, unable to determine which versions were real. Quantum resonance at critical threshold, Singh reported. Initiating cascade in 3, 2, 1. The human fleet released their built-up energy in a synchronized burst that transcended normal space-time. The quantum resonance cascade rippled through reality like a stone thrown into a pond, each wave carrying the concentrated force of multiple quantum states collapsing at once. The void entity recoiled as the cascade struck it, its dark mass writhing in what could only be described as pain. Where the quantum waves touched it, the darkness began to crystallize, transformed by the fundamental forces being unleashed. The cascade isn't just damaging it, Dr. Vorn exclaimed, her scientific curiosity overriding her fear. It's forcing the entity to collapse into a single quantum state. You're making it conform to our reality's rules. But the victory was far from assured. The entity fought back with desperate fury, its attacks becoming more focused and precise. Several human ships went dark as their dimensional cores overloaded, the strain of maintaining quantum superposition proving too much. We can't sustain this, Singh warned, her augmented eyes tracking the mounting damage. The cascade is working, but our ships are burning out faster than they can adapt. Frost studied the tactical display, watching as both human and Confederation forces gave everything they had to hold the line. Then he saw something that made him smile, a pattern in the entity's movements, a rhythm to its desperate attacks. It's afraid, he realized. For the first time since they entered our galaxy, the void entities are experiencing fear. They can be hurt. They can be stopped. And that means they can be beaten. The battle reached its crescendo as the quantum resonance cascade reached maximum intensity. The massive void entity, trapped between quantum states and unable to maintain its grip on reality, began to collapse in on itself. Its dark mass crystallized completely, transforming into something new, a structure of impossible geometry that pulsed with both darkness and light. All ships, full power to containment fields, Frost ordered. Don't let a single quantum particle escape. Director Singh, begin final phase of the Titan protocol. The human fleet, despite their losses and damage, moved with perfect coordination. The dimensional lattice contracted around the crystallized entity, weaving a prison of reinforced reality that would hold it for study. As the battle subsided, both human and Confederation forces took stock of what they'd achieved. They had won their first major victory against the void entities, but the cost had been steep. Nearly a third of the human fleet's ships would need extensive time to regenerate their course, and several Confederation vessels had been lost holding the anchor points. This was just the beginning, Frost addressed the combined fleet. The void entities will learn from this defeat, adapt their tactics. But so will we. Today proved that our combined strength is greater than the sum of its parts. Together, we can face whatever horrors the void sends next. High Counselor Xyrax stepped forward. The Confederation fleet stands ready, Fleet Marshal. We've seen what humanity has become, and we understand now why you hid for so long. You weren't just advancing your technology, you were preparing us all for this moment. As repair crews began their work and scientists studied the crystallized entity, a new sense of purpose filled both human and alien crews. They had looked into the darkness between realities and held their ground. Whatever came next, they would face it together, evolving and adapting until they became something the void entities had never encountered before, a unified galaxy ready to fight for its very existence. In the aftermath of the quantum resonance battle, the combined fleet gathered at Starbase Horizon, a massive human installation that had remained hidden in dimensional space until now. The station itself was a marvel of engineering, its living metal structure constantly shifting and adapting to the needs of its inhabitants. Fleet Marshal Frost stood at the center of the station's grand observatory, surrounded by representatives from both human and Confederation forces. Through the transparent walls, they could see the crystallized void entity being studied in a containment field, its impossible geometry casting strange shadows across space. The analysis is complete, Dr. Vorn announced, her crystalline form gleaming with excitement as she projected her findings. The void entities aren't just cosmic horrors, they're the remnants of a universe that died long ago. They're trying to reshape our reality to match their own dead one. Strategic Director Singh's augmented eyes swirled as she processed the implications. That explains their attack patterns. They're not just destroying, they're converting. Each tear in space-time is an attempt to transform our universe into something that can sustain their kind of existence. High Counselor Zyrax moved closer to the containment field, his scales reflecting the crystallized entity's otherworldly light. But you found a way to stop them. The quantum resonance cascade didn't just defeat this one, it transformed it. More than that, Lieutenant Commander Thex added, his cybernetic systems interfacing directly with the station's sensors. The transformed entity is stable. It exists in our reality now, bound by our physics. We've discovered their weakness. Frost nodded solemnly. But exploiting that weakness comes at a terrible cost. You've all seen how many ships we lost in just one battle. We can't fight a war of attrition against beings that exist outside of time itself. The observatory fell silent as the implications sank in. The void entities would keep coming, learning and adapting with each encounter. Traditional warfare, even with humanity's advanced technology, wouldn't be enough. Perhaps, Dr. Vorn's voice cut through the silence, we're thinking about this the wrong way. The quantum resonance didn't just force the entity to conform to our reality, it created something new. Something that never existed before in either universe. Singh's eyes widened with understanding. The crystallized form, it's not just a prison. It's a bridge between realities. A stable point where their physics and ours can coexist. Exactly, Dr. Vorn continued, her excitement building. What if instead of trying to destroy or contain the void entities, we work to transform them? Create a new state of existence that can accommodate both our forms of life. The observatory's walls shifted, displaying new simulations based on their combined data. The quantum resonance cascade had done more than just win a battle. It had opened up possibilities that neither humanity nor the Confederation had imagined. It would require unprecedented cooperation, Frost mused, studying the projections. The human fleet's dimensional technology combined with Confederation research and resources. We need to evolve beyond anything either of our civilizations has achieved alone. Zyrax stepped forward, his voice firm. The Confederation is ready. We've seen what humanity accomplished in isolation. Imagine what we could achieve together. Not just survival, but transcendence. The station's sensors suddenly blared to life. More tears were forming at the edge of known space, larger than before. The void entities had learned from their defeat and were preparing a massive counterattack. But this time, the combined fleet was ready. Human ships moved into formation, their living metal hulls already adapting to new configurations. Confederation vessels took up strategic positions, their conventional weapons modified with quantum resonance technology. All ships, Frost's voice carried across the combined fleet, prepare to initiate Evolution Protocol Alpha. This isn't just about defending our reality anymore. Today, we begin reshaping it. The massive station itself began to transform, its structure extending into multiple dimensions. Dr. Vorn's crystalline form pulsed with energy as she coordinated with the science teams, while Singh's augmented systems calculated quantum probabilities across countless scenarios. The void entities thought they could unmake our universe, Frost continued, watching as the fleet prepared for battle. Instead, they've given us the key to its next evolution. Together, we'll create something entirely new, a reality where all forms of existence can flourish. As the tiers in space-time grew larger, the combined fleet moved forward with purpose. Human ships phased between dimensions while Confederation vessels maintained the anchor points. The crystallized entity in its containment field pulsed with new energy, responding to the quantum frequencies being generated. This is how it begins, Dr. Vorn whispered, watching as the transformation spread across space. Not with the end of a universe, but with the birth of a new one. The battle that followed would be remembered not as a clash of civilizations or a struggle for survival, but as the moment when life itself took its next great leap forward. Human and Confederation forces fought not just with weapons and technology, but with the power to reshape reality itself. And in the space between moments, in the quantum foam where possibilities became reality, something new began to emerge. A universe where darkness and light could coexist, where the impossible became possible, and where the combined wisdom of humanity and the Confederation would light the way forward into an unprecedented future. The void entities had sought to end everything. Instead, they had become the catalyst for everything that would come next. As Frost watched the transformation spreading across space, he smiled. The age of isolation was over. The age of evolution had begun.